Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it may be. On tonight's podcast, we're going to talk about the big Matthew Stafford JaredGoff trade. Who won the trade? I got my thoughts on that, as well as where is DeshaunWatson going to go? Is he going to go somewhere at all? Is he going to sit out the season if he doesn't get his trade request? We're also going to preview Super Bowl 55. Should be exciting. High scoring between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs. And last but not least, we're going to kick off with this Black History Month with some Black History moments in sports. So we're going to keep that thing going the entire month of February. So at any rate, without further ado, one last thing, please get the merch. Let's get it. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome to tonight's snowy version, cold version of podcast. Like it's snowing here in the Midwest. I think my man Dwayne Nash here got some snow in the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
So it's
we got it over the weekend and a little bit on Monday.
There you go. Snow began it in full effect. Anyway.
Don't say that too loud. Because snow is like pornography here in DC. Whenever there's a hope of it hitting here,
yeah.
Oh my God, the meteorologists hitting the area they get so hyped. They start talking about and prognosticating about what might and might not happen, only to be let down. It's been interesting for the past couple of years. We've had a very interesting snow drought for the past 2 years. So the 4 to 6 inches that we just got over this past weekend was a nice teaser. So you say the word snowmageddon, oh my God, it is just it is.
It's like that in New York State, but at any rate, this is probably the first time that I've heard a snow and porn analogy. So it's podcast go. And where was that again? Oh yeah, anyway, I forgot. Okay, so anyway, my co-host Dwayne Nash, please check him out on the r/HBCU Sports, wrestle all things HBCU Sports and Snow and Porn, as well as Sleazy Radio every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. I gotta mark this down. This is the first one. This is so funny. And one more thing, please check out his great work on HeroSports.com, where he raps about FCS sports as it pertains to HBCU athletics. And for your boy here, please check me out on my sports blog, The Clown Times, Clown spelled with K at www.theclowntimes.net. And you can check me out on Facebook as well. Just go to the search window where your smartphone, desktop, laptop, tap in The Clown Times there. You'll find me after the full there and probably spreading some more snow jokes there. And last but not least, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of this video. And you'll be glad you did, and we'll be glad that you did. Oh, and one more thing. Get the merch. CafePress.com. He got the wool on. CafePress.com. Search for the Clown Time Sports. You'll find it there as well. So we got a little bit to get into. This is a football and Black History podcast. So I hope you enjoy that for the entire month of February. So let's just get started with the news that hit over the weekend. That was huge. Matthew Stafford for JaredGoff. I thought that even though the Lions got a haul, like a first round pick for next year and a first round pick for 2023, I guess they needed that for the Rams to, even though they're going to take on Goff's horrible contract, the Rams had to throw those 2 draft picks in there to sweeten the kitty, so to speak. But I thought the Rams did well in unloading that terrible contract for Matthew Stafford. I think Matt Stafford has a few years left. I mean, he balled out in Detroit, and yes, I know that he didn't win, but he didn't win any playoff games. He only went to playoffs once. But and even though he has some talent in the form of Reggie Bush and Megatron and a couple other cats, you gotta admit that. I mean, and a few other cats, but the point is that you gotta admit Detroit has won. Pretty shitty organization. I mean, this is the same organization that got the great Barry Sanders to quit early, and the before mentioned Megatron to quit even earlier. So, I mean, look, I think if I'm Matthew Stafford, I would just kiss the ground and thank the Lord every time I get because he's on a team that's Super Bowl ready. Got a top-notch defense led by the two of the best defensive players in the league, and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. He got a stud running back and Cam Akers, who had a great rookie season. He has like a plethora of skill weapons to throw the rock to. He has a pretty damn good offensive line. So, I mean, hell, the Rams, to me, upgrade at quarterback big time. And, you know, I know that Jared Goff's a good kid by all accounts. He's a good kid, very coachable kid, very relatable kid, personable kid. But let's just be real. He was holding the Rams back. And I know that Goff was part of the Super Bowl team, but I thought that was more of a team thing instead of a Goff thing. But give me your thoughts right quick on the Rams and Lions big trade over this past weekend.
Well, first and foremost, I want to go ahead and respond to your statement of, you know, the type of organization that the Detroit Lions are. Hopefully, there's a change there. I mean, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the hire of Dan Campbell, you know, the knee biter and all, right?
Right.
But my hope is, right, that our fellow Aggie and the current vice president of player personnel and general manager, Brad Holmes, the A&T alum, I'm hoping that he comes in as a general manager, is capable of bringing in better talent to that organization. That's one of the things that that team has been bereft of for a very, very long time. They may have players in spots, but they can never get that team together. And of course, like you said, ever since one Barry Sanders walked out the door, they have never been able to get right at the running back position. So it's going to be a task for Brad when he starts to fill out that roster, right?
Right.
And yes, Detroit has to take on that bulk. Well, they have to take on that contract,
right? But
they do get a lot of draft picks to try to go ahead and fill those holes, and hopefully they have enough dough to go ahead and attack free agency as well, and to potentially attempt to make Detroit a destination spot. Because of course, let's be real, it is Detroit, Michigan, and yes, it is pretty cold up there. Right. No one's going to really like being there.
And it's an organization too, you know.
Yeah, and so you know, hopefully
double whammy.
Those exactly with the history of the organization and the climate of the city, hopefully, you know, they can go ahead and start to win there to make it a little bit more attractive, because of course the discussion was already had on whether or not Jared Goff's girlfriend would come out there to be with him, or whether or not she's going to continue.
Was that really true? Was that really true?
I mean, I don't know how true it is, but it has to be some truth to it. I mean, she's an actress.
Yeah.
And it is LA versus Detroit.
Right.
So, I mean, he can't just get a place and rent in Detroit and go back to LA during the summers or whatever. But yeah, I got a strange feeling it's going to be a battle for her to want to live in Detroit.
No, okay, you're talking about Jared Goff's girlfriend. I thought you were talking about the coach girlfriend, because apparently there's a rumor going around that Jared Goff slipped into his coach's girlfriend's DMs.
Whoa. We'll get to that in just a moment.
Okay.
Whoa.
I skimmed the gun. Jump the gun
there. Yeah, don't jump the gun now. So yeah, that's how I look at it from Detroit's aspect of it. As for the Rams, there are a lot of people. It seems like you are, and I was originally included that believe that Matthew Stafford is a better QB than Jared Goff. But if you look at their stats head to head over the past 3 seasons, it's almost a wash. You know, Jared Goff averages more passing yards per game, because of course he's had more talent at the skill positions than Stafford has. But Stafford has averaged more passing yards per attempt. You know, touchdowns per game are the same. Interceptions per game is about the same. So it's almost a wash. I mean, I guess it's more or less an intangible thing, and things how you perceive with your eye. Because you know, sometimes the eye test is a little bit more deceptive than what we actually see statistically. And I'm thinking a lot of us, myself included, were fooled by that, because it just seems as though that Matthew Stafford has a little bit more gumption, if you will, for lack of a better term.
He's a tough dude.
He's
a tough
he's
dude.
a tougher guy
Yeah.
than as it appears than Jared Goff is. So it'll be very interesting to see what Matthew Stafford looks like in an organization that is not bereft of talent on both sides of the ball, and that is that close to being a Super Bowl team yet again. You got to remember this team was just in the Super Bowl not too long ago, and he really wants to play with Sean McVay. I mean, I know how you feel about Sean, and I have my feelings about Sean as well.
Well, if you're white, if you work for him, then you can, get a job. So that's
of course, yeah, so that's why I've sent my application out there to him, right?
Yeah.
But I guess I'm the wrong color, and that's another conversation for another time.
Right.
But yeah. So it seems like they both, as of right now, have won. We won't really find out the winner until like maybe 2 years from now. That's with any trade, in my opinion. We won't necessarily know who the winner is until 2 years from now. Now, if the Rams go and win the Super Bowl next year, you know what? They're the winner. If Detroit somehow makes it to the playoffs next year
and win a game in the playoffs,
they're the winners, right? But
right.
It takes about 2 years for these guys to get settled within the organization and get an understanding of their systems to find out who really will be the winner. But of course, the window's going to be short. They don't have a lot of time, especially as it pertains to the extension with Goff's contract, because if he doesn't perform, he's going to be out of Detroit. And the same thing with Matthew Stafford. If he doesn't perform, he's going to be out of LA. So it'll be very interesting to see exactly what happens with these two players within their new organizations within the next year or two. But to your point, I thought I did. No, I wasn't a thought. I did see it. There are claims that Jared Goff made a comment in a group text, and I'm trying to figure out who brought this up. Who was the genius that decided to bring it up, one, and then who was the genius that let it leak? Where Jared
no Goff pun intended, leakage. No pun intended, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, where Jared Goff basically said that he would like to lay the pipe to Sean McVay's girlfriend. I thought that was very brazen of him to do that. I don't care if it's a group text that I expect not to get out or not, but still, it was just, that's bold.
Yeah.
That's bold.
Your head coach, that same coach. I mean, you gotta take that. You gotta couple that, and how true or not it is. That's an awesome story, no matter what. But
yeah, it's still hilarious, right?
Yeah, it's still awesome. But you gotta figure that when it was quick how McVay and the general manager Les Snead both soured on Goff. Now, I should have known something was up when he said that someone asked Les Snead the question about Goff being their quarterback. He said, he's our quarterback for now.
Yeah.
And I was like, for now? That's pretty interesting. Wonder what's going on here. Because I know that he was hurt. I knew he was hurt, and John Wolford from Wake Forest started a few games, one game at the end of the season, and then a game in the playoffs at Seattle. And then I guess I didn't know this though, but Wolford was playing with an injury, and I figured that Goff would be right back in it, but Goff was not. He wasn't listed as a starter,
no,
even though he was healthy. So it was like, wow, what the hell was going on here? Maybe I don't know if he's wanting to ride the hot hand or something. I don't know, but the thing is that I guess McVay and Snead got around to seeing what I guess a lot of other people were seeing was that Goff was the clearest, weakest link on that squad, on the Super Bowl ready squad. Remember, they don't have any first round draft picks. Hadn't had any since they drafted his ass first overall. But they won't have another first round draft pick until 2024 at the earliest.
Yeah.
I know that draft picks can be overrated in the sense that it's a total crapshoot in terms of if they're going to succeed or not. But the point is that if they're going to just like put all the chips to the center of the table and go all in with this crew, they have to do with an upgrade at quarterback, and they got that with Stafford. Now I will say this. I could also argue that McVay has put his career on the line in LA, and let's say to a lesser extent, because they're saying, okay, no more excuses. We have the team built. We got the defense built around. We have the weapons on offense. Get the stud running back who's rookie this past season, who's still on rookie contract. You got a great offensive line. We finally have an upgrade at quarterback. No more excuses. No more excuses. Now, I don't know what the definition of a failure would be in the sense that they still have Tampa Bay, who I think will be the favorite coming out of the NFC next year, as well as maybe the Packers. So you have like this little bit of a crowded room at the top of the of the pyramid. You figure that the Rams would have to be the third team to fill out that top echelon, maybe followed by Seattle. That's right, maybe right underneath that group, give or take. But because I don't know how Seattle's going to look like next year, even with Russell Wilson. But the point is that the Rams and McVay have no more excuses. They got the quarterback that they wanted. He still has a few more good years left. He's a tough dude. And I think, it's going to be hella interesting in the AFC next year, but the Rams have no more excuses, man. And this is what it is. They just got to make it happen.
Yeah, they got the QB that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
They got the QB that wanted to be there. They're bereft of draft picks. So it's most definitely a win now mode, right? And like I said before, if they're not capable of winning over the next couple of seasons, it's going to be a problem in LA. Now I would say that, because you got to look at it. 30 teams are not going to make it to the Super Bowl, right?
Correct.
LA is going to have to at least be comparable to what they were in order for it to be considered at least even. And I truly believe that they don't want to look at it as being even based upon the things that they gave up.
Right.
So
they better not be.
Yeah. So it can't be even, and they're going to have to at least come out and play a lot better than what they did last season. Well, this past season.
Right.
So I would say in order for it to be a success, especially in year one, they're going to have to make it to the they have to take another step forward than what they did this year, which is of course the divisional playoff round.
Right.
That's for me at least, and they're going to have to be competitive in that round. They just can't just stumble their way there basically by winning the Western Division, which is going to be a fight in itself anyway, with the Seattle Seahawks, with the Arizona Cardinals, and then a healthy San Francisco 49ers, and potentially based on what they're going to do at the quarterback spot as well. So they're going to have a test in that division alone, not even considering what's going to happen outside within the conference. But of course, they're going to have to think about that too, and if they're looking to make the playoffs.
Right, and that's a good point there as well. But you got to figure this, man. You got to wonder this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if another team out there is paying attention to this. If Matthew Stafford was able to fetch 2 number 1 draft picks and a starting quarterback, what the hell do you think Deshaun Watson's worth?
Oh, you didn't see what the asking price was by Houston?
I heard, but refresh my memory because I want you to, yeah.
Okay, so based upon what I've heard so far, it's been 2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and 2 defensive starters.
Oh, 2 defensive starters.
Yeah.
Are they guessing that JJ wants the hell out too?
It's a possibility. There have been discussions on whether or not JJ wants to stay, but it's going to be very interesting because, of course, quarterback is a heavy need here in DC, and there are a lot of people who are clamoring for steady quarterback play because, of course, I haven't had it just about my entire lifetime here in DC.
So maybe Joe Theismann for a couple of years. Joe Theismann and Doug Williams a couple of years.
Yeah. Oh, not even Doug, but still.
Mark River for a season.
Like
yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to say it like this, right?
Yeah.
I haven't had an Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre here in DC.
That's fair.
In my lifetime.
Yeah. That's fair.
I haven't had a Ben Roethlisberger or Terry Bradshaw in my lifetime.
Mm.
Hell, I haven't had a Tony Romo or Troy Aikman,
or Danny
Phil
White.
Sims, Danny White. Just someone who I could count on year in and year out. Theismann is the closest thing to it, followed by Mark Rippon. Mm-hmm. And even still, that was, maybe 5 years, 6 years max?
Yeah, because Theismann got hurt early that into his career.
Yeah, Theismann was injured in what, 86,
Yeah, Monday night
87?
game against the Giants.
Well,
I
80,
remember that.
85, 86.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we so and even the guys that have been here for 3 or 4 years, there have been controversy on whether or not they would stay or not, the time frame in which they were here. If you look at Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
I mean, Brittle Bob was here for 4 seasons and it was controversy filled. So yeah, we just never had consistent play. So that's what we're in search of, is getting a QB here to do such. And of course, there are a lot of people that believe Deshaun Watson is capable of doing that based upon what he's done in the first 4 years of his career. And there have been people who have, being that there's not a lot to talk about right now anyway, they've been creating sales pitches for Martin Mayhew to try to pitch for the Houston Texans to figure out what they want to do. So it's like, okay, if we want to go ahead and do it, okay, 2 first, 2 third, and then who do we give up on defense? Do we give up Landon Collins and say like Jared Allen, or is it Ioannidis and in a corner? What do we do? So yeah, there have been discussions about what they do, and it's that, I guess, trying to fit within that mold of that request that has gone out, which is of course to some may be perceived as an impossible haul.
Do you think the Texans are really going to get 2 defensive starters? Do you really think that? Because Deshaun Watson, all he has to do, and reports, if I'm reading correctly, he's willing to play hardball, which means he'll sit out.
Yeah.
So so 2 things. Questions. Do the Texans really want those kind of problems?
For him to sit out?
Yeah, for him to sit out and lose more and more value to the franchise. Because let's face it, the only thing that keeps him viable, aside from J.J. Watt, is Deshaun Watson. And two, again, are they? I mean, can the I almost call them the Rockets? Can the Texans really afford to play hardball with him? Because remember, he has a no trade clause. He can't. Yeah. They can't send him to Siberia. To football Siberia. He has to okay it, and he doesn't want a Carmelo Anthony situation where the whole team is gutted for him to come.
Yeah,
he could turn down stuff. So he has crazy leverage.
Yeah, he does. But at the same time, Houston kind of has leverage where they can say, okay,
he's under contract.
Yeah, you're under contract, dude. So it's either, if we get what we want to get to send you out of here, then we get it. But if we don't, you're either going to play or you're not. Right. So what are you going to do? Are you not going to play, or are you going to come play? So both sides are kind of holding some sort of leverage.
Who do you think is going to blink first? Who do you think is going to blink first? I think the Texans are going to blink first because they.
You know what? I think Deshaun might blink first. Because he's the player. And then you don't want to be that guy who, if you sit out a year, what happens? I mean, yeah, he gets rested up for a year, but I mean, you were out of football for a year, and then you got to get back with your football shape, especially playing the quarterback position, and you're starting QB. And I don't know because, Houston has already shown that they're not looking to win right now.
Right.
I mean,
that's pretty obvious.
I mean, no disrespect to David Cawley, who you announced last week as new head coach of the Texans. And I think I may have said then, and if I didn't, I'm going to say it now. I don't know if necessarily Cawley stays there for a long period of time. I think it's more or less a placeholder to get in the guy who they really want. Which
who do you think want to coach that? Who want to coach that pile of shit?
That's the thing.
Who want to do it? Who would want to do that?
If you could go ahead and turn shit to Shinola, and you can go ahead and rebuild from the beginning. So if you can get you a guy who's willing to come in and rebuild this organization, then that's what you're going to get. You're going to get that guy. And the question is, who would be willing to do that? So I don't know. And a good way to kind of set them up is to, of course, to have those draft picks. So that's the only way that really works for them. Or they just go ahead and just wait until they're capable of filling the holes that Bill O'Brien left for them. So either way, it's going to be
holes.
interesting to see. Yeah, and that's the thing, because Cauley is going to end up taking the brunt of the holes that O'Brien left. So once those draft picks are given up, and they get their picks back again, then that's probably when they bring in a new head guy. But yeah,
I'm trying to. Yeah, because check this out. This year's draft. I'm looking at the Houston Texans draft haul. They don't have a first nor a second round pick.
No.
They got to throw one third round pick, 2 4s, a 5th, 3 6. 2 of them are compensatory, and a 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So they ain't got shit. They essentially they don't have shit to work with. So I mean, hell, that's a Bill O'Brien thing. Thank you, Billy.
Yeah.
But I'm looking up the next year's draft picks. But anyway, but the point is.
But yeah, they don't have any picks in the first 2 rounds this draft, right? I don't know what their financial situation is looking like. Their top 2. There's rumors that the top 2 players on the team are looking to leave after the 3rd has already left. So what do you do?
Yeah.
Other than hit the panic button. So yeah.
I mean, it's a shame, but no, it is what it is.
But you know what I kind of call this though, a little bit though?
What?
Jokingly, it's the Colin Kaepernick curse. It's kind of weird, and let me explain why I believe that. Mm-hmm. And I hate to have to bring up Colin Kaepernick in a situation, especially just the fact that Colin hasn't played. But my point was made years ago, right? That it's the team's prerogative on who they want to bring in and who they want to sign and don't want to sign, right?
Right.
And at the time, Houston was one of those teams that needed a QB, but they decided to go the youth route and draft the QB in Deshaun Watson, which panned out for them, right?
Correct.
Until it didn't.
Yeah.
So now they're stuck in a situation where they're losing talent, and their coach and GM has been tossed to the side because he can't make great decisions.
Right.
And like I said, Houston was one of those teams, and I mean, look at them now.
I like to also call it the Rick Smith curse, because remember, like Rick Smith, the brother who's a former GM.
Yeah.
Some people say, well, a lot of people say that Bill O'Brien ran up out of there.
Yeah.
So go figure that. He was one. I mean, Rick Smith was the one who drafted him. Apparently, because I guess even though O'Brien wanted to start, some scrub, I forget his name, who ended up losing the starting job after halftime of the first game of that season, and won DeshaunWatson, the rest is history. So
I just find it funny, right? That it just happens to be, and I hate to make it about color, but I mean, it's kind of ironic that it's the quarterback position where we already talk about how the league has now moved on to being a place where we have more black QBs, but have been bereft of general managers of color.
Yeah.
So you run one out and you shun another one, based upon what his views were. I mean, yeah, you sign another one, but it turns out that guy now doesn't like the views of your owner as well. So what?
There you go.
It's just ironic, right? And I hate to be that woke person to kind of point that out. I just find that kind of
sometimes you got to point out. Sometimes it is what it is.
It's a little bit glaring though. It's like okay, that's why Deshaun doesn't want to be there. He doesn't like the views of the owner. And one of the views of the owner was that he didn't want to sign a player who wanted to peacefully protest.
Right, and his
though
daddy and his son.
Yeah, even though it's a position of need for them. Yeah,
right. So they're gonna figure it out. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that situation. That's going to probably go over it's going to be a long stalemate, man. I think it's going to be a long stalemate. I mean, again, I think Houston. Yeah, Deshaun he signed that extension, which he shouldn't have signed because, again, like I said, was it last week or a week before? He knew what time it was in Houston. The organization doesn't get shitty overnight. He knew they were shitty for a long time. He knew he probably couldn't trust him for a long time. Again, I'm not mad at the side. I mean, $140 million is $140 million. But all money ain't good money either.
Yeah. But I also say I'm of the club that says he should have signed that contract because if he plays, he gets his money. If he gets traded, he gets his money. The only way he doesn't get his money is if he doesn't play.
Right.
And the only way it looks like he's not going to play is by personal choice.
Right.
Because he's been playing at a level in which it makes it very hard for you to bench that dude.
Right.
It does.
Yeah.
And if you bench him, you still got to pay him.
Yep.
And if you cut him, now he doesn't get all. Wait a minute, he gets the guaranteed though.
Yeah, he got most of his signing bonus. He got most of his guarantees. So I mean, he'll
get his guarantee.
He's good.
So
he's good.
That's why I said it was better off that he signed that contract, because he walks away with big time money anyway, and it was just a matter of how much of it he's going to get. Right. So yeah, he played his way into that, and it's kind of funny because I talked about it on this show first before I heard anything else. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and beat my chest about that. How Deshaun Watson has made this into like an NBA-esque type thing. And the only way that happens is, one, you have to be a player that plays a position of value, and two, you have to go ahead and play at set level, and three, it has to be like I said, that goes hand in hand with the value, very difficult to replace. So yeah, and quarterback is that position that fits that criteria all the way around. But the thing is, you have to play up to that caliber, and he's done so. So yeah, he just becomes one of those guys that makes it capable of happening. You know, there are a lot of people who are afraid that the NFL might start to become like the NBA in that aspect, but that's going to be very difficult because there are a lot of other positions where you can replace guys with. It's just that the quarterback spot is one of those places where it's very difficult
a premium.
to do that.
It's a
premium.
It's a huge premium.
Yeah, we're
going to grow on trees.
They don't grow on trees, and we're going to talk about that on Sleazy next week. There are about 18 to 20 teams right now that are in need of a starting quarterback because there are no guarantees about what that's going to be.
Let me share one last thing regarding Watson. I heard this today on the Herd. We're calling Cowherd. There's some rumblings that the Las Vegas Raiders might toss their hat in the ring. They have the starter that Houston would want, and Derek Carr. I think he's a good quarterback. He's not a stiff. He's a good quarterback. I don't think he ever meshed well with John Gruden. He's very hard on his quarterbacks. He's
very hard
for
with
that.
QBs, yeah.
To the point where Rich Gannon, even though he had his most success under Gruden, he'd go back at him. He'd go back at Gruden. 4 little bombs to him, 4 little bombs back. It was just that type of relationship. It was a good relationship. Yeah. It was a mutually profane relationship. But I think the Raiders, they're looking to win now too. They're in Las Vegas, okay? They want to win big in Las Vegas. God willing that the pandemic will slow down to the point of being the flu, and it's in the sense that it's not as bad as it was before. So they'll get the Las Vegas fan base back, the fans back in the stands. And John Gruden, he has a $10 million a year contract, but he wants to win in Vegas. Come on, so he really wants to win. And also, he has some young studs that Houston may want. Because just remember, too, the Raiders in division with not only with Patrick Mahomes, to talk about him momentarily, but also with Justin Herbert. One is already superstar Mahomes. I think Herbert is on his way to being a superstar. The way he balled out this year. So Houston. So Oakland has to catch up. Now
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, damn. So Las Vegas, especially being in Sin City, they have to catch up to that. So what better way to do it than letting Deshaun? And I'll tell you what, man, Deshaun in Las Vegas facing Mahomes twice a year? Wow. That's the only guy who could really go head to head in terms of win-loss record against Mahomes.
Yeah. Similar style of play and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's good. But another team I want to throw at you right quick. There's rumor that San Francisco may be rumored to get him as well because they have draft assets. They have a bunch of studs on defense. Because remember, all those first-round draft picks on the defensive line alone, I know they traded away one of them. But they still have great defensive talent to be able to afford to actually give up. And so I think they have the draft capital to do it. And again, San Francisco is similar to the Rams. they're built well. They got a great running game. They got a great coach in Kyle Shanahan. And so Deshaun Watson's style with Kyle Shanahan, that can make some magic right there. Better
bootleg style QB, being able to scramble outside the pocket. That falls right into the Shanahan playbook. Either Daddy Shanahan or Sonny Shanahan. Either way, that is textbook Shanny QB right there. So you're right. But the thing is, and this is another option that I've heard that actually includes the Las Vegas Raiders, that actually might include the San Francisco 49ers, is that if one team, because remember, like I said before, Houston's not necessarily asking for a quarterback to be sent to them.
Correct.
Now, with those two teams that you named in Las Vegas and San Fran, they do have QBs that they can send their way. But if they can somehow acquire picks in Vegas, you said San Francisco may already have the draft capital in order to do it. But if a team who's a QB needy can send the picks to Las Vegas, and they send those picks and two of their defensive starters to Houston, that's a way we can go ahead and get Derek Carr out of Las Vegas and get Deshaun Watson into Vegas.
Right.
And then Houston gets what they want.
So, I mean, it's going to be fun, man. Again, it's going to be very
interesting.
I think it's all going to get done before the draft. I think this is going to be done before the draft.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah. So, because again, Houston does not have a first nor second round draft pick. So, which is why I think if it's going to get done, it's going to have to be before this draft. Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point? So, so that's going to should be fun. So we're going to move. I teased them earlier, talking about Mahomes. Super Bowl. I didn't think we'd get to this point in COVID, right? With all the shit that went on through the season, with games getting postponed, moved around, the game being played on Wednesday night, another game played on Tuesday night, shit that you don't see every day in the NFL. But and plus with sparse fanfare, depending on where you go, like most stadiums like up north had 0 fans. Some stadiums in the South have fans. Some have more fans in i.e. Kansas City and Dallas. But anyway, I won't talk about that. But the point is that it's been a weird-ass season. Very weird season. And what better way to end the weird season than to have a Super Bowl where the host is participating? Tampa Bay. And, of course, the quarterback of said host would be Tom Brady.
Of course it would, right?
So you got GOAT against the future. Well, many people think it would be the future GOAT. So basically, I'm not going to belabor. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm hoping it's going to be a good game. I think it will be a good game. I think it'll be very high scoring. I've been burnt going against this guy the entire postseason. I'm not going to get burnt again. I have to go with Old Faithful, Tom Brady. I got to go. I mean, because I think, too, not only because of the experience factor, well, Mahomes has a little bit of experience, obviously, but I think history is on Brady's side. He's in line to win his 7th Super Bowl.
Yeah.
7! Yeah. And this is his 10th Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I know, right? I was just having a discussion with one of my boys last night, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's a huge Tom Brady hater. Oh my God, the flake gate. Oh my God, the tape recordings. I'm like, okay, you know what? Take that into consideration, right? And just say all of those Super Bowls before the flake gate and the tapes never happened, right?
Right.
You take Tom Brady's career after that, that's still what, 3 Super Bowl wins?
Exactly. Super Bowl record passing. Yeah.
That's still 3 Super Bowl wins. Come on, dog. I don't care. I don't care who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many Super Bowl wins does Joe Montana have? 4, right? That's 3 post the controversy.
Yes. Correct.
That's 3 post the That's still Hall of Fame worthy right there.
And I don't care. People like to knock superstar athletes who lose title games.
Yeah.
But 10 Super Bowl appearances is 10 Super Bowl appearances. I don't care if like the likes of Bradshaw, my guy, and Joe Montana went 4 for 4.
Yeah.
And you can extrapolate that to basketball with Jordan being 6 for 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big LeBron fan on the court, but LeBron has been to how many finals? I think 10 or 11.
Yeah.
That's still going to that many finals is hard to do. I don't care if you win most of them or lose most of them. 10 finals appearances is 10 finals appearances. 10 is greater than 6.
Yes.
In the case of Brady, he's lost 3 Super Bowls. He's won 6, but not only is 10 Super Bowl appearances more than 4 Super Bowl appearances for Montana, he's won 6 rings. 6 is greater than 4. I don't give a damn if it's 6 for 6 or 6 for 10 or 6 for 12. It's greater than 4. Even though Montana went 4 for 4. But anyway, I'm not going to get through all
but see, the next question would be how many NFC Championship games did Montana not make it to? As compared to how many AFC Championship games did Tom Brady make it to?
Right.
So, it's all about how you want to look at success and failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he made it to the pinnacle 4 times and succeeded. But how many times did he fail to make it to the pinnacle?
Right. And keep this in mind, too, for his greatness.
Mm-hmm.
When he was in New England, he made the Super Bowl 9 out of the 19 years he played in New England.
Yeah.
That's damn near a 50% clip.
Yeah.
1 out of 2. 1 out of 2 years. And now he'll be playing his 10th Super Bowl. Well, did I get that right? Yeah, he'll be in his 10th Super Bowl in 20 years.
Yeah.
So he's one of two. He's batting 500.
Every other year he's in the Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We're not gonna look for the people who are listening to this great podcast. I just want to let y'all know, no matter how you feel about Tom Brady, I'm not a big Brady fan. I still hate the Patriots, even though he's in Tampa Bay now. But the point is, we will not see this again. We will not see this level of greatness again. Now, we don't know what we're going to see from Mahomes. I know people are talking about, what about Patrick Mahomes? Things happen. Injuries happen. Free agency happens. The salary cap happens. So, and even still with Brady, in the case of Brady, he played 20 he's played 20 years, made a Super Bowl 10 out of those 20 years. I don't know if we're going to, again, I don't know if we're going to see that again for that long period of time.
It's already exactly right, because it's already an anomaly to have a player play 20 years in the NFL.
Yeah,
a contact sport and a contact sport of that level.
Right.
So that's already a difficulty as is at a position. Now he doesn't take hits constantly, but he plays at a position where people are trying to get at him on on every snap that he takes. Right.
Right.
And to do that for 20 years and to be on a team that has not only players good enough, but coaches good enough to make it to the Super Bowl 10 years in a row.
Very important.
In this NFL climate is extremely difficult because long gone are the days where, like, my Washington football team were capable of hoarding players and signing players for long periods of time, and players wanting to stay with coaches for long periods of time, and coaches not being poached, and everybody wanting to stay in one city. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything to play with your boy. I still want to beat the best.
Right.
Long gone are those days.
Right.
Now, hey, where can I go? I'm going to take taxes into consideration. Where does my wifey want to go? Where my boy want to play. I want to play with him sooner or later. Stuff like that now comes, hey, that team sucks, so they want to try to poach from my coaching tree. There's a lot of things that happen now that weren't happening 30, 40 years ago in the NFL that allow teams to stay together longer. Whereas nowadays it's not as easy. So yeah, and we can only imagine what it's going to be like within the next 15 to 20 years for this to attempt to be, well, not even past that, because I don't foresee it happening within the next 20 years. I don't know if it were to happen when it would be, But it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. And yeah, like I said before, man, say what you want about this dude. There's no way in the world you can. I don't care how you attempt to slice it. It is hard to sit here and try to diminish the accomplishments of Tom Brady and the organizations and the teams in which he's played on.
Exactly.
It's very difficult.
Exactly. So I don't know if I got your pick yet for the Super Bowl. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
Oh, who do I got? Man, it's a toughie, right? So we did our picks and everything on Sleazy last night.
Correct.
And for the sake of the show, we make picks, and a lot of times just to give you a brief history for those who are unfamiliar. We make our weekly picks week in, week out. 10 picks per week, right? And we also keep track whenever we do unanimous picks. Now, historically, when it comes to unanimous picks, we're trash. Right? Last year was one of those years where I guess somehow COVID helped our unanimous picks, where we went like 35 and 17 throughout the entire year on unanimous picks. So we started feeling ourselves.
Right.
Now we're back to 1-8 this year already in terms of unanimous picks. So it's looking like another trash year, but somehow, some way we kind of turn it around. So you know how they talk about the Madden curse and the SI cover curse? We also have what we like to call the sleazy unanimous pick curse.
Awesome.
So to kind of avoid that this year, Coach and Lou both picked Kansas City to win. And I was like, I wanted to pick Kansas City, but I took Tampa. And there's an argument for both. God, with that said, my heart says Kansas City. But there's a small piece of me that's leaning towards Tampa, but I'm taking Kansas City. The thing that does concern me is the loss of Eric Fisher.
Yes, the offensive line. That's huge.
Yes, and that defensive front for Tampa with Villa, Golston, and Ndamukong Suh.
Yep, Pierre
Shaq
Paul.
Barrett, six-finger JPP. That
wrong.
No, he wrong. Put the
he wrong.
down,
Yeah. That's still funny.
I wouldn't be able to call him six fingers if he didn't have six fingers. I'm just saying,
Correct.
Never mind, I'm not even gonna do that. That's me. That's wrong.
That's a hamburglar, like the hamburger helper. Like, hey, look.
That, my friend, is wrong. But I am always.
That's a Pittsburgh Doughboy. I'm sorry, I poked the wrong one. It's a Pittsburgh Doughboy you poked, not the hamburger helper guy with the three fingers.
That's like the little thing.
Yeah, he's like this.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna go to hell with Gosling drawers on for that one.
And I'm right there in the passenger seat with you, dude. We are wrong, but it's hilarious, dude. Man. But still, even with the lack of fingers, he's still capable of making plays. Yeah. And he had huge sacks in that Green Bay Packers game, right? Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see what that front does against Patrick Mahomes. But the thing is, Patrick loves pressure. So what do? You live by the blitz, but he eats the blitz like Pac-Man pellets. So what do you do? Do you continue to blitz him in that situation? At some point in time, they're going to have to try to. They've already played him once this year, so they already know what to face. But it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle it this time. So yeah,
this will be interesting. So I'm hoping and praying for a good game. I'm going to have my.
It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I'm hoping and praying for high scoring. I'm hoping and praying for that. But again, styles make fights.
They do.
That they don't have, like Kansas City is missing Eric Fisher and another offensive lineman too. I forget his name. Apparently, there's some couple of cats in Kansas City who may not play because they got their hair cut by a barber who tested COVID.
Yeah, it's a contact situation. It's like the fourth string wide receiver or another player.
Oh, there you
go.
There's
a possibility that they still could play. But even still, the things like I said before, the lack of the tackles, starting tackles from the beginning of the season, they won't be there in the Super Bowl.
Right.
but they play well facing pressure. The thing is, how will they adapt to not having their starting tackles in this game?
Right.
Also, Tampa is known for stopping the run. The thing is, though,
Kansas City doesn't run the ball.
They run the ball by committee, right?
Right.
And even though they are 2-2 this year, whenever they run the ball under 60 yards or less in a game, which is how much Tampa gives up per game rushing.
Mm-hmm.
One of those losses was the last game of the season where they didn't play all of the starters.
Right.
In that other game, I forgot, it was against the Las Vegas Raiders. And in that game, not only was the Vegas Raiders capable of stopping them from running the ball, they gave them fits offensively with Darren Waller, with a tight end, which is a position where, of course, Tampa is not bereft of talent. So that's like the fourth time I said bereft. I'm going to go ahead. I'm still keeping a tally of that, too.
You got to go big words going, yeah.
Well, it's small, big. It's only 6 letters, but still. So, yeah, if Tampa is capable of doing that, which they are, holding them under 100 yards and being able to make plays with the tight ends, then, of course, we're going to end up having a good game, something that I'm anticipating anyway. But the last time Kansas City played against Tampa held them to 87 yards rushing, but Kansas City threw the ball for 456 yards.
Yeah.
So, pick your poison.
Yeah.
Pick your poison. So, but even still, like I said before, to answer your question, I'm taking Kansas City, even though, I'm taking Kansas City.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my bucket. Since I won't be in any Super Bowl parties because I'm afraid of COVID, I have my bucket of chicken. I don't know where at yet, but I have my bucket of chicken, have my Cool Ranch flavored Doritos, some chips from other chips from Whole Foods that my son likes. What else? What the hell else I'm going to have? I had like for Christmas, right quick, I got like some Omaha steak stuff. So I got
get back on that too, yeah.
I got some apple tarts through that. I got some sausage, a couple of rolls of sausage from that. And so I'm gonna break those out. And who the hell else I'm gonna break out? But I'm not so gonna need lots of junk food for why I think it's gonna be a good game this Sunday. Again, goat versus baby goat.
Ironically enough, which translates to kid.
And
of course, Patrick Mahomes, this is his 3rd year. He's still kind of a kid in there, but at the same time, second Super Bowl, 3 MVP-like seasons. Yeah, what do you do, right? But yeah, as you're talking about menus, I'm still trying to get my menu together.
Yeah.
And what I'm gonna do.
Make sure it's junk. Don't eat healthy during Super Bowl. You gotta eat junk. That's the one day a year you can get away with eating junk. So get you some asparagus. Some damn
yeah, Scott, I'm gonna go ahead and get some hummus and some chips
and some pita bread and vegetarian hamburgers. What they call chicken sticks. But anyway, we're gonna close shout out.
Not to say that I'm beyond hummus, but
Yeah. Let's just be real about that. Throughout this month of February, Black History Month, we're gonna take a segment out of each show, sharing with y'all, sharing with the audience, Black History moments in sports that many fans do not know. So we're not going to get the Jesse Owens. We're not going to get the Jackie Robinsons. We're not going to get the Hank Aaron's. We know most people know that.
Yeah.
I want to touch on, and I know you're going to touch on as well, and some guests we're going to bring during this month, like our guys from last week, for example. We're all going to touch on and share Black history pioneers in sports who people do not know about. So I got my 2. I know you got your 2.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share mine right quick. You can share yours. The first African American drafted to the NBA, Chuck Cooper. Like I saw, I saw what was really cool last night. Duquesne University, where he played. They were I think they were ESPN or ESPN2, one of them. But anyway, they dedicated a new arena on campus, and they named it after him. And so what the coolest thing what ESPN did was that they came back after commercial break surely like maybe 10 minutes or so after the opening tip, and shared the story of Chuck Cooper, which I thought was really, really, really cool. So that's one. So I want people to know out there about Chuck Cooper, the first African American to be drafted in the NBA.
Yes. Oddly enough, here's another bonus for you.
Yep.
Chuck Cooper also attended the HBCU before he ended up at Duquesne. He played a year at West Virginia State.
There you go. Another nil on BlackHistory. So we're synergy, man. I like this. So yeah. So Chuck Cooper, and also there is an article that I posted to my to my Facebook fan page. It's about the first all-black starting line in Canada hockey history, college hockey history. And it's at St. Mary's University in February 1970. We started Bob Dawson, Percy Paris, and Daryl Maxwell. And they were recently honored not that long ago, actually. So, but it's on NHL.com's website. And basically it's never been done at that point. So it is a game against Mount Allison University in Sackville, New Brunswick. So again, that's St. Mary's University, all black forward line on the ice in the hockey game, February 1970. Bob Dawson, Percy Paris, and Daryl Maxwell. And that is my contribution to the first of in the series of Black History Pioneers in sports for the evening. So I know you got your two as well. So I'll let you have the floor.
Yes. First and foremost, I'm going to start with the homie, Al Adams, aka the Destroyer.
Yes, Al Adams. Great.
Yes, NBA basketball Hall of Famer. Got his number retired at North Carolina A&T State University a couple of seasons ago. Not only, of course, is he an alum of North Carolina A&T, our alma mater, he also played in the NBA with the then in Philadelphia, which eventually became the San Francisco and Golden State Warriors. Now, for those that don't know, Al Adams is the second African-American head coach to win an NBA title. He did that in 1974-75 against the then Baltimore Bullets. Like I said, he's the second to do it. He was a player coach at the time. Also, the first player coach, the first African-American to do it, was also a player coach, one Bill Russell. So yes, the second guy to do it all time is an HBCU alum. And of course, not only he had at least a 40, 50-year career with the Golden State Warriors, because not only was he a player, he moved his way up into the front office as well. There where I think he still has some sort of role there in Golden State. But yeah, he's been in Golden State and hasn't left that organization the entire part of his NBA career. So that's my first one for this week. The second one, of course, goes to a gentleman who just recently passed away, unfortunately, one John Chaney.
Yes.
Now, of course, a lot of people are familiar with John Chaney and his time at Temple University, coaching in the A-10 against the likes of UMass and Rhode Island. But before all of that, John Chaney, who is from Jacksonville, Florida, who eventually ended up moving up to Philadelphia, attended college at Bethune-Cookman College. Correct. Where he played guard there. And of course, after graduating from there, he would eventually become a head coach. Like I said before, we mostly know him for his time at Temple. But before he was at Temple, he coached at Cheney State in Philadelphia for 10 seasons, from 72 to 82.
Was he there the same time as Vivian Stringer when she coached women?
Yes,
that's
he
what
was.
I thought. Yes, what I thought.
And during that time there, Chaney won a national championship in 1978, where he went on to win, have a record of 232 and 56 during his 10-year time frame there. So that dude basically had a record of 23-5 every year he was there at Cheney State before eventually going on to Temple. So yeah, I wanted to go ahead and pay homage to the OG. You know, they talk about the pillars of African American head coaching as it pertains to college basketball. We lost two giants, John Thompson late last year, and now
Right.
just John Cheney this past weekend. So I want to go ahead and pay homage to him and most definitely bring to light his HBCU past before he went on to become. Same thing with Vivian Stringer, who won a national title at Cheney State as well during her time there before she went on to do the things that she did later on in her career. So yeah, I wanted to go ahead and talk about Chaney and Al Adams. So I did basketball. I was going to cheat and do Doug Williams because, of course, the 33rd anniversary of him winning the Super Bowl was just on the 31st. And, of course, I still mark that as one of my all-time favorite, if not the all-time favorite moment in sports history for me to see Doug.
I remember my dad right quick about Doug Williams. We watched the Super Bowl, and he was a Washington fan before he passed. But I remember sitting there with them. I was never a fan of Elway's Broncos, even though I was an AFC guy. So I remember sitting watching my dad, and I remember when y'all went down 10-0.
Yeah,
and Doug Williams got hurt. And before they brought in Jay Schroeder for like a quick minute, and then Doug Williams went back out there, and the rest was history.
Yeah,
touchdown pass, a couple of Timmy Smith big runs here and there, but touchdown pass after touchdown pass. Never seen my dad so happy. I've never seen my dad so happy. I mean, mind you, I watched the Super Bowl before that where y'all's team beat Miami. We were both little kids then, obviously, but I remember. But even watching that would be y'all's first Super Bowl victory. I've never seen my dad as happy as he was because he saw Doug Williams get some shine. That was the happiest I ever seen him watching any type of sporting event. This is like years and years of watching sports with them. And everything else. That was the happiest I've seen him. And it's not even close. And I'll forever remember that. Right quick about Al Adams. I think you may have mentioned this. He was a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
He was a Hall of Famer in death of 2019. But I want to share with you just right quick before we get to our random shit segment. I remember as far as John Cheney is concerned, as great as a coach he was great. He was awesome. My favorite moment of his was when he crashed the press conference of one John Calipari.
Yes,
when he was at UMass. Back when A10 basketball was it, and back when Temple and UMass was real. It was a real rivalry. Back then, John Calipari, we all know, but those are the younger folks out there who know him from UK and maybe Memphis before that, that's where he got his really big start as far as D1 level basketball. And so that was in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And so that's back before that, John Cheney's Temple Owls ruled the A10, the Atlanta 10. So here comes UMass and this cocky Italian dude from Pittsburgh coming up there, blowing up the spot, rattling the cages of John Cheney, and really challenging him.
Yeah.
He really challenged Cheney. Again, Temple and UMass was a real rivalry. And so it was a real rivalry. And so it culminated, the boiling point came, I think was it UMass beat them? And then what's his name? Calipari it was bitching about the treatment of preferential treatment to Cheney or wherever it was. And then Cheney, having to be around, sorted in, was talking shit from the back. Calipari, who's not known to back down from anyone, talked his shit back. And before you know it, John Cheney takes his old ass up there to the podium. Granted, he wasn't but so old. Yep, he was a little bit older than Calipari, obviously. Just hurried up there. Here comes Calipari down from there, about to literally throw blows at each other.
Yes.
Literally about to throw blows at each other. And we're ending with Cheney yelling, I will kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your ass. And then Calipari pointed at him. On top of that, people get members of the press and coaches getting in between them. That was classic. And what was the coolest thing about that, right quick, is that Calipari recounted the whole thing on Twitter, I think a couple of days ago. It's like it's funny that they became good friends years after that. And so he was able to recount that moment. He gets a good laugh about it now. So
it's hilarious.
It was classic.
Yes, that's the sad thing, because there are a lot of people who look down on Channy because of that.
Yeah.
You know, but that's like that, and the perceived way that he treated his players, even though his players loved him.
Yes.
His players loved
Well, he called himself the Black Knight for Bobby Knight when Bobby Knight had all that trouble, and then John Chaney came to his defense. He said, I do the same thing. Yeah. They call me the Black Knight because I do the same thing to my players. But yeah, go ahead.
And see, that's the thing, and that's the one thing that a lot of these players will tell you, that was kind of like one of the responsibilities of head coaches, not just in college basketball, but in college football as well. Mm-hmm. Not just at PWIs, but at HBCUs as well.
Right.
They not only were their coaches, they were father figures to these guys. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they had to be tough on them because they had to prepare them not only for basketball, but for life.
Yeah.
So they taught them, you know, not just lessons on the court, but life lessons that stuck with these guys to this day. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a tough love aspect, and to a lot of guys, they were like fathers to them, and they loved them for that.
Oh, they love Chaney. These players love Chaney.
And like I said, you know, you had that history and that knowledge that came down from the likes of Thompson and Chaney and those before him, you know, Big House Gaines and McClendon, that will pass down to the current guys, especially those that are on the HBCU level, like Lavelle Moulton over at North Carolina Central, and Will Jones at North Carolina A&T has probably gotten a little bit from those that have been surrounded by Corbett. So yeah, there's a lot of, and when Al probably has given them,
I'm sure he was like
as
that.
Well. Yeah, so you know, it's just the whole lineage of how not only just to win, but to have these young men win at life, and it's something that these guys will cherish for the rest of their lives.
Well said. So now we're down to our random shit segment. Do you have anything that you want to share with us? What you're doing? Like, I know you're on location somewhere, so you want to share any tips that you have? You're at the crib now? You're at the crib? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm back at the crib now. I mean, and my on location was just here in the area, so it wasn't necessarily I was anywhere special. But yeah, you talk about FCS news, and of course today was National Signing Day. I'm not one who necessarily gets excited, but I know everyone else does. So I want to see what everyone's buzzing about, and I'm like, okay, that dude sounds good on paper. I want to see what this dude does on the field. But I digress about that. And the reason why I say how they do on the field is because even with COVID still going on, dude, I don't know if we're gonna, man, oh man. So I think we've already talked to you about how there's 6 teams in the MEAC that are going to compete football wise this spring, right? We've just had our first SWAC school pull out from playing football this spring, and it's a doozy because it's the conference champions. Alcorn State has said we're not playing this spring, which is big because, like I said before, they're the conference champions from last season. I've always, not always, but like over the past month or so, I've been thinking, how much does this season necessarily mean outside of the fact that these guys get a chance to play? These guys, it's kind of late for a showcase for the draft because the season goes on past the draft. It's kind of like a preseason for the fall season to come up. But, you know, my hope is that a lot of these guys that are not going to get an opportunity to play this spring, especially the seniors, will get an opportunity to play in the fall. Because, you know, I would hate to see like a lot of the guys who would have been seniors in 2020 just lose out on that entire season and not get an opportunity to get one more chance to shine on the field and at least enjoy their last year playing on the field. And with that said, you know, the fall schedules have already been released over the past couple of weeks as well, which means, God, it just, I understand why, but it still hurts me to say it. The first ever season for North Carolina A&T in the Big South. I saw that schedule and how weird that looks to see it like that. And then also the bigger news, my God, the Atlantic Sun has absorbed like 5 schools. I can't remember what the schools are off the top of my head, but they've absorbed 5 schools and they're looking in the process. I think I may have brought it up before last year that they were looking to become this super mega conference where they have schools that concentrate mainly in football to compete. And then they end up splitting the conference into 2 to having 2 conferences to play basketball. I'm going to go ahead and send you the full details to post on your Facebook page. But yeah, they made the announcement on Monday that they've acquired the teams and they're well on their way to go ahead and starting this super conference on the D1 level. It's going to be very interesting as it pertains to the future of college sports.
Wow. And then the wheels turn.
Yeah.
Money makes the world go round, but
yes, it does.
It does. But anyway, I guess that's a wrap. Thank y'all for tuning into the nice podcast. Again, for my man Dwayne Nash on the Yards HSTU Sports Wrestling, all things HSTU Source. You see the stuff in the background there, as well as Sleazy Radio every Tuesday night with the coach Lou and the crew. Also, HeroSports.com, where he talks about FCS sports as pertains to HBCU athletics. As for me, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button at the bottom so it will help me, him, and everybody else. As well as get the merch, KevinPress.com.
Get the merch.
Get the merch. Also, search for the Clown Town Sports and put the address link in the description. And 2 more things. These pandemics not over yet. I know people are getting their vaccinations. Stay your ass at home if you can. If not,
stay home on Sunday. How about that?
Please stay home on Sunday. Don't go to your homeboy's Super Bowl party. It ain't worth it. Ain't worth getting the super spreader event. Just stay your ass at home. Order some shit. Order your shit. Go to a grocery store if you have to. And if you go to a grocery store, wear a damn mask. Don't be a Karen. Wear your fucking mask. Okay? And get home and wash your damn hands like your mom and daddy taught you from back in the day. And one more thing. Take care. Have a good, safe weekend. Peace out.